Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind. The fire will burn and never die, looking through the eyes of a brand new life. And so just find me, just find me. Sparks will fly if we scream no. This is not how we're gonna go. We are the ones who will never let go. Just watch us run to where no one knows. We'll never grow.
What is up, everybody? How's everyone doing today? It is Tuesday. We are coming off a great New Year's Eve, coming off a good AFC West division title back to back to back. Yes, that's right. 3 times in a row, the Chiefs have clinched the division. How's everyone doing today? Jackson, how's your New Year's Eve?
It was good.
All right, Sam, how's your job today? We know you started a new job.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was actually like I got like no business, but I mean it was awesome. I mean you get paid, so hey, I'm fine with that.
Hey, money's money.
Yep.
All right, boys. As we know, last Sunday the Chiefs did clinch the AFC West for the 3rd time in a row. What were your guys' thoughts on Sunday's game?
I was there and it was awesome. It's like we honestly were just it was one of the first games of the Chiefs were really a complete overall. Our offense was on and our defense was on.
All right, Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we played pretty well. The defense still gave up a lot of yards, but they got a lot of turnovers, which is what they're good at. They lead the NFL in sacks, so they put pressure on the opposing quarterback. I thought we played pretty well. We did not. There was 2 turnovers. We got nothing off of those, so that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do think our turnovers, we need to get points off of turnovers. But overall, like you guys said, it was a good game. I mean, it was against the Raiders, but who cares? A good game against anybody is a good game. That's good momentum going in the playoffs, because when you have a good game in the last season, you want a good game. All right.
Yeah.
But going into the playoffs, if you could change something on the Chiefs, what will it be? And be specific. Don't say just the defense. What on the defense? You have one thing you can change. Jackson, we'll start with you.
I guess specifically, I would hope that they could tackle better because they're not very good at tackling.
All right, Sam, what's the one thing you wish the Chiefs can change up on?
Well, I think honestly, our defense isn't going to win the games. What's going to win our games is mainly the offense. Our defense probably in the playoffs will allow lots of yards and touchdowns, and you can't just all of a sudden change that. But something we can change is aggressive play calling in the second half. And Andy Reid, not really in the regular season this year. I mean, it's shown a few times, but he's always struggled in the playoffs by being too conservative in the second half. So I think it's key that the Chiefs are really aggressive in the second half. And I don't care if it's a 20-point game. We need to be fighting, I mean, no matter what. So it's important that Andy Reid doesn't get too conservative in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like that, because the Chiefs do like to play conservative when they're in the lead. But if I can change one thing on the defense, everyone's healthy. No, I'm joking. I wish, to be honest, I do hope. I don't know if anybody knows the answer, but I hope Sammy Watkins is back. I don't know.
Yeah,
he will
that'd be huge.
Let's hope he is. Who knows, Jackson? I mean, to be honest, we don't know. But I hope Sammy Watkins is back. He's really good with the Chiefs. I mean, if you pay him that much money, he has to do something with it. But now with the Chiefs clinching a first-round bye, they can sit back and watch some football this weekend and figure out who they play. And out of the 3 teams the Chiefs can play, which are the Colts, Chargers, and Ravens, who do you want the Chiefs to play and why? Jackson, we'll start with you.
the Colts, because the Colts are the worst of those three teams. I don't want to play Baltimore ever again because they have the perfect formula to beat us. They run the ball well and they play good defense. I mean, it's not good. We can't stop the run. It was our toughest game that we won, I think, to be honest. You could say it was our toughest game overall. Really, the Baltimore Ravens played a great game versus us. So I'd like to see the Colts.
Rams game was a tougher game. Sorry, you wouldn't say the Rams are a tougher game?
I wouldn't, because I felt like we played more of our football versus the Rams. I felt like we didn't get to play our style of football versus Ravens as much. We didn't get to really. Pat wasn't on the field very much in the third quarter. They were just running and running and running down our throat. It was a problem.
All right.
So I would say I want to see the Colts because the Chargers have already beat us. The Ravens almost beat us. And the Colts outside of Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, they're okay.
Darius Leonard.
They're all right. I mean, they're nothing too special.
They're a playoff team, so I mean, they're something.
Yeah, but there's a reason that they only beat the Giants by 1, and there's a reason that they were struggling versus Blaine Gabbert. They're not a top tier team like we are.
I don't know if you call us top tier with our defense, but
well, you're the 1 seed, so I consider that top tier.
Well, we can see how far we go with that. Sam, who do you want to play in the playoffs and why?
Honestly, I've been thinking over this. I mean, not just regarding the question, but over the past few days, and it's really tough for me because, I mean, I'd say the Ravens are out of the picture because they have a great defense. So it's between the Colts and Chargers, in my opinion. I feel like we know the Chargers better, obviously, but I mean, I think the Colts have the weakest run game out of those teams, possibly.
Yeah.
And our Chiefs' run defense has been weak. I mean, overall, their defense has been pretty weak. And honestly, it's a really tough one. But I think it's head-and-head, Colts or Chargers. I don't want to play the Ravens, but I wouldn't mind playing the Colts or Chargers. Either one of those teams, I wouldn't. I could just flip a coin. I'd be fine with either of those teams.
All right, I like that answer. Before I answer, Shadow Wicker. We still don't know how to say your name. We're gonna get it eventually. Shadow Wicker. I think I got it. Anyway, he said, "Hey guys, Shadow, how's your New Year's Eve? Let us know in the chat." But I totally agree. I would love to play the Colts, but I mean, if it can't be the Colts, then I would want it to be the Chargers because I feel like we can easily beat that team. Give us a third time at home. Not easily, but I think we should be able to beat that team.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ravens are definitely the team that can kick us out of the playoffs in the first week.
I tell you though, you really don't want to face one team 3 times in the same year.
But it's 1-1, so eventually.
Same on the flip side though.
Yeah. But the Chargers don't get to pick really. They'll be happy to be here if they. I mean, it's like if I had to pick, I would pick the Colts because they haven't seen us.
I would say I would pick the Colts too, but I'm saying if we get the Chargers, I'm not getting scared as I would for the Ravens.
No, I'd say definitely the Ravens are the biggest scare to us.
Let Patriots deal with that. Let the Patriots.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. We need to make some of our game picks tonight.
The Ravens are what, the 4th seed?
Yeah, which is what they were the last time they won the Super Bowl in 2012. So it's possible.
Of course, you bring that up. All right. Over the weekend, Antonio Brown was questionable to play with his quote-unquote knee or leg problems. He was getting it tested, but it turned out Brown got benched for not showing up to practice after he was rumored to be in a heated argument with Big Ben. Is Antonio Brown causing too much drama with the team? Jackson.
Well, this is a team that's had a lot of drama this year. And quite frankly, I'm not blaming this on Mike Tomlin at all, but it's way too good of a team not to be in the postseason, if you ask me. That team is pretty talented. They definitely got a better defense than we do. So it's really concerning that they didn't. And I think it's a lot of the outside distractions. First, you had Le'Veon Bell, who would not play under the franchise tag. And the organization made it very clear that they were not going to give it to him because they didn't feel like he was worth it. That kind of stirs some things up. Then the offensive line was saying, well, if you don't want to be here, then don't, pick, they were saying some stuff. And so there's been some dysfunction here. And I look back about a decade ago, Santonio Holmes, when he was with Pittsburgh, had some of the same problems, and they ended up trading him. I understand Antonio Brown's a lot better than Holmes, but it was like the same thing. They traded him to the Jets. So you're kind of looking at it. Tomlin was the coach then, same GM. So, man, I don't know. But I would say it's not just Antonio Brown causing the drama. I think there's just a big drama problem in Pittsburgh right now, and they need a change of personnel.
I like how you brought up the trade. Yesterday there were rumors going about Antonio Brown requesting a trade, but that was false reports. Everyone got faked out with a fake Bleacher Report account. But yeah, I did like how you brought that up. Sam, do you think Antonio Brown is causing too much drama?
I think he's allowed to cause too much drama because again, I like how you brought up Mike Tomlin. The guy is not controlling his players, or at least he doesn't control their mindset.
He wasn't hired to be a babysitter.
Yeah, and yeah, I do agree with that. But again, I mean, these guys, they're young adults. Like, for example, Tyreek Hill, he's not the most mature coming into the NFL. It's your job to kind of control their mindset and say, winning first, and, I mean, put the team first. But Antonio Brown puts himself first, Le'Veon Bell, stuff like that. Antonio Brown's being very selfish in the situation. From what I read, I guess he tossed the ball at Ben's feet and was unwilling to participate in the Saturday walkthrough. So he is causing drama. I do agree with that. But Big Ben, I've seen him overthrow Antonio Brown multiple times.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think he has a reason to be angry at Big Ben, but I think you should keep him on the down low. I think it's a little ridiculous to overreact how he did. But I'm going to take a shot at Mike Tomlin saying I think it's his fault because he allows so much drama to take place that should never be allowed.
Those men are above 25 years old. You should not be tossing a football at each other.
Okay, well, here's the thing. If Antonio Brown wants to do that stuff and he wants out, the real picture is the thing. You like it or not, he has more authority than Mike Tomlin. They can't lose Antonio Brown. They're not going to trade. If they trade him, there's nothing right now that I could really see them trading him for. I don't think they would.
Another wide receiver and a draft pick?
I think they would fire Tomlin before. And let's face it, Roethlisberger let's just not sugarcoat it. He had a horrible year. He led the NFL in interceptions.
He led the NFL in most leagues in most passing yards.
In passing yards. That's because they played from behind. Listen, it's just I don't like Ben Roethlisberger as a person, really. I don't think he's that good of a guy. I agreed. I think he's always been a problem. He got suspended back in 2010 for some off-the-field issues. I think Antonio Brown's fed up with him. You can say it's childish, but, I mean, he's done with it. He's done with all this Pittsburgh, it's to put it into a word, crap. It's a bunch of nonsense.
I've also go ahead.
Shadow Wicker said, do you think Jalen Ramsey is a good fit for our defense? A good fit for our defense? Yes, but do I want him on their team? No. He just causes way too much. Too much drama. Yeah. I don't like that.
They would never go get him.
I don't think it would be smart. All right.
On top of the my bad. But on top of the Antonio Brown stuff, I suppose he kind of took a shot at Mike Tomlin, saying he's too aligned with Big Ben. So I guess maybe Mike Tomlin is clinging to Big Ben and siding with him basically on everything. But as Jackson mentioned, Big Ben has been terrible this year. And so I feel like Mike Tomlin isn't really getting on to Roethlisberger. And, I mean, overall, I think he's taking a laid-back approach with Roethlisberger, which could be kind of a ticking Antonio Brown off.
And let's not forget this. Whenever this previous draft went by, Pittsburgh in the third round took Mason Rudolph, a quarterback out of Oklahoma State. And when they asked Ben about it, the media, he said, I don't know. He said something along the lines like, I don't know how that helps us win right now.
Yeah, he said Ben, that was the first time they got a quarterback within the first 3 rounds. And since Ben was drafted.
Here's the thing. You're not the GM. You're not the coach. Shut your mouth. Just go play football. You realize all the loudmouth quarterbacks are the ones that end up failing. You don't see Brady going out there blabbing. You don't see Mahomes going out there blabbing. The guys that like to talk a lot have to talk a lot because that's the only thing that makes them relevant.
Dang, Jackson.
Big Ben. See, the thing is every other year it seems like I'm contemplating retirement. Well, it's only a logical decision to draft a QB.
Yeah.
And so it's like he gets angry because he's selfish. He's putting himself before the team, which is what many players do on the Steelers.
Someone said you could put the Steelers on a reality TV show, and that might be the #1 TV show in America. And I totally agree because that's a lot of drama.
Yeah.
I really want to see them on Hard Knocks.
I was just about to say that, but I mean, like, they're not bad.
Actually, I saw this on Twitter. There's a certain list of teams that
I saw that too. It was like the Lions, the Redskins.
If you don't make the playoffs for 2 years and you don't have a rookie head coach, you can't deny it. Which I thought was interesting.
Wait, what?
It's a rule the NFL has in place that if you don't make the playoffs for 2 years and you have a head coach that's been there for more than 1 year, and Hard Knocks asks, the Hard Knocks thing, I think it's HBO that does it. If they ask to do it, you have to say yes. The NFL has a rule like that.
Are you serious?
No, I'm completely serious. The Raiders are one of the teams that would have to do it with the Lions.
The Lions, the Redskins.
I saw
the Giants.
They literally can't.
I would love to see the Giants. Oh, that would be a pretty good one.
Well, you just look at the Browns. I mean, they were good. But think about this. If you're on HBO, you're a dysfunctional franchise. There's no other way to put it.
But the Steelers can't do. I mean, the Steelers can, but they probably won't choose.
They can't. You have to look at it. Belichick, you think he would let HBO do that? No. There would never be a Hard Knocks in New England.
Kansas City had it once.
Because they're successful, all right? And they don't need all of that noise in their ear.
Houston had it like 3 years ago. Sorry about this, guys. Hard Knocks is a great show. It's my favorite show. I'll say that.
Okay. It's a lot of noise, and it's not something that coaches want.
No. All right. Something that happened Sunday was Kelsey broke the all-time season yardage for a tight end, but in less than an hour, George Kittle broke it. What were your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think the NFL should even acknowledge Kelsey breaking the record, or just I didn't even know about Kittle breaking it. It was all on Kelsey. Like, did Kittle have the best game of his life or something?
He's just underrated in my opinion.
He's not underrated.
Go ahead, Jackson.
He's not underrated. He's just on a bad team, but he gets a lot of credit.
I don't know. I think it depends. I mean, honestly, he was off to. He didn't finish as strong as he started off, and I feel like if he plays a full season next year with his full potential, he could even do better. But he also had a young QB, and young QBs tend to throw it shorter than veterans do because obviously the shorter
50 yards receiving.
Yeah, he's definitely very talented.
Jackson.
I love Travis Kelsey, but I'm going to go ahead and say that George Kittle was a better tight end and is a better tight end right now than Travis Kelsey because Kelsey's had a quarterback to do this with. This dude had Garoppolo for 2 weeks, CJ Beathard for 3 weeks, and Nick Mullins, and broke the all-time record. Forget about Gronk. He had Tom Brady. You can forget about that.
Gronk's not even close.
Gronk had it, but I mean, that was 2011 Gronk. That Gronk is gone. It's still a record. So the question, should we acknowledge Kelsey having it? They won't in history. If you hold a record for an hour, no one's gonna recognize you for that. But I mean, he has the second most, so he can have that.
He did have the record, though. So I mean, you can never say no to that. You can always say Kelsey did break a record. It just did not last that long.
Yeah.
All right. Also, you know how you said Kittle's the better tight end than Travis Kelsey?
Mm-hmm.
Kelsey actually got 21 more points in fantasy football than Kittle, so fantasy football shows you.
That really tells you who's better.
All right. Eagles made the playoffs yet again, but by the Bears helping the Vikings. Does anyone need to worry about this team with a 5-1 Nick Foles as a starting quarterback? Jackson, we'll start with you.
Yes, you should worry about this team. Listen,
they are playing the Bears too, so that's pretty funny. The team that helped them might get knocked out by them.
All right, well, you're playing the best defensive line in football with Fletcher Cox, so there's no doubt there that's scary. Their pass rush is lethal. Their secondary's been the problem. They're down to their 5th and 6th guy right now, but Ronald Darby's back, so that helps. Nick Foles has had some magical.
He's only lost one time. Carson Wentz has lost 6 times
this year. Yeah, so to be fair, I think the team should, and maybe not the Saints, but for sure the Bears, because the Bears have no postseason experience, and if they get behind, it's over because Trubisky is not good enough to get in a shootout. I don't think at least. Maybe, but if the Eagles can get a 2-score lead, 10 points, 9 points, and then get up at least that, which will be really, really tough. But if they can, I think there's absolutely no way the Bears are going to win that game.
And you only have the Bears going in the divisional round?
I don't even know if I'm going to give
the Eagles. Sorry, the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I think the winner of this game will lose to the Saints, but I tell you what, I think either team that wins this game would put up a heck of a game with the Saints. Unfortunately, if the Bears win, they'd have to go to the Rams, so we might not see that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm pretty sure everybody in the NFC is rooting for the Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone in the AFC. Because it has no implication to us.
Man, if I were to... I'll let Sam go, actually.
Yeah,
I'll say
Sam,
that.
are you scared about this Eagles team?
Honestly, I'd say definitely, yeah. Because honestly, they're basically nearly the same team they were last year with Foles. I mean, I don't even know the record under Foles, but they're definitely
5-1.
Huh?
They're 5-1 with Foles this year, and
Oh,
5-6 with wins.
Oh wow, I'm surprised. I didn't know he started that many games. But 5-1, that's like the Eagles team that we saw last year heading into the playoffs. So, in my opinion, they're the same team that was the Super Bowl defending champs, and I feel like the NFC team should definitely be scared of them. I mean, they've been playing great the past few weeks, so heading to the playoffs, they're on a hot streak, and I think they can definitely keep it up. So I'd be worried.
3 teams that did not make the playoff were the Bucks, Dolphins, and Jets, and all 3 of those teams requested to meet with Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Jackson, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, we knew, at least I knew that was going to happen. If you're the offensive coordinator for a team that set the NFL record for not scoring under 26 points once in a season, you're going to get an interview somewhere. Do I think he'll get hired? I don't know. And to be honest with you, I don't know if he would like a job. I think he might want to. He may want to stay another year just because there may be a better opening. Like if I got the opportunity to stay the offensive coordinator for Patrick Mahomes or go coach the Jets, I would be the offensive coordinator for Patrick Mahomes.
You would take
no doubt in my mind.
Cut?
Yeah, I mean because there will be a better opportunity.
His loyalty. That will show his loyalty.
Well, it's not even loyalty. It's a better situation. Think about this: if you go to New York and flop, which is very likely because that roster, you're never getting another head coaching job. So you have to take your calculated risk. You can take less money. I mean, it's still plenty of money. I don't think that's a problem. But you can take less money, be the offensive coordinator for another year, and then wait another year, see if there's another fit, because I can guarantee you he'll get another interview next year. That's what I would do at least. But it's up to him, and that head coaching job is very attractive. I think if I was him, the only places I would take it, though, would be Cleveland and maybe Green Bay. It'd depend.
All right, Sam.
Honestly, I think Eric Bieniemy is very talented in my opinion. I hope he stays in Kansas City, but let's be real. Every offensive coordinator, it seems like Andy Reid, where every offensive coordinator Patrick Mahomes has in his career will generate interest from other teams just because Patrick Mahomes is so good. It's not Eric Bieniemy that makes Patrick Mahomes make the amazing left-handed throws or has him, sprint out of the pocket. I'd say Patrick Mahomes is just amazing, and a lot of that looks like it gives credit toward Bieniemy. And he's mainly run-based as he's a running back coach previously, but Patrick Mahomes, it's not like he gives Patrick Mahomes his mobility where he all of a sudden, it's mainly Patrick Mahomes in my opinion. I'm saying give the guy some credit, but Patrick Mahomes will make anyone look good.
Yep. Sorry, guys. Another coach that did get the coach that did get an extension. I don't know if you guys saw this. Oklahoma head coach Lincoln Riley got an extension to Oklahoma. So there goes all the head coaches, or all the team's hopes of Lincoln going to their team. Is this shocking to you guys?
No, I figured he'd stay at Oklahoma. It's a great job. It's one of the best schools in college football. It's a pretty good gig. The only gig I could have seen him taking was the Cleveland one to team up with Baker. That's all I could have seen him doing.
I don't know why, but they're not announcing Greg Williams as their head coach. He will be interviewed. He's not the head coach as of right now.
Yeah, they're going to interview the offensive coordinator, Freddie Kitchens, and Mike McCarthy.
I've heard that Mike McCarthy's a favorite, which is a
Well,
terrible, terrible choice.
I would assume he's the favorite because John Dorsey's the GM, who is the GM in Green Bay when Mike McCarthy was head coach. So yeah, that makes sense to me.
Do you like
I
the
believe
Browns?
Greg
Would you
Williams.
like the Browns hiring McCarthy, Jackson?
No, Mike McCarthy is like his playbook is from 1995. It's horrible. It's
Who
the
would
most
you like to
generic.
see the Browns hire then?
Personally, I would love to give Greg Williams another year,
If
but
they don't, do you want the Chiefs to hire him as the defensive coordinator?
debatable. It really depends on who else we could get. But interim coaches don't really work out most of the time once they get another year. We saw that with Romeo Crennel. So I do see the risk there, and John Dorsey understands that. You can't just hope that that carries into next season. So if I'm the Browns, man, I'm interviewing as many people as I can. I'm interviewing Josh McDaniels. I'd even interview Eric Bieniemy, however you say his name. I'd interview as many people as I could for that job.
All right, Sam, who do you think?
I think
Best coach.
I think Mike McCarthy is a bad choice, and then Lincoln Riley is obviously off the table. And then they have the offensive coordinator who's shown upside, but I think Greg Williams. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and he's been doing good under the Browns. And if they don't sign him to a deal, I think another team will. Sadly, I don't think he'll ever come to KC as a defensive coordinator. No, I think Williams will either go back to the Browns or he's going to sign a head coaching gig somewhere else because he's been good.
I agree with
since
you.
he's taken over. I think he should. I think this Browns should ink him to a deal, but it's seeming like they're basically just treating him as an interview and not really putting more thought into it.
Another coach.
I want to ask this.
All right.
I want to ask this question. You know the bounty that the Saints did on Brett Favre back in 2009 that Greg Williams was a part of?
Yep.
Do you think that has any impact on whether they're going to give him the head coach or not?
Nope.
You don't think that has any
because
impact?
they hired him as the defensive coordinator, so I mean that would have had implications.
There's a difference between being the defensive coordinator and
Yeah, but you still getting another chance after that. I think once you get hired, I think it's off the table.
it might be, but I'm just saying it kind of is a bad
I see what
look.
you're bringing up. Another coach that did get fired was Marvin Lewis. Who do you think the Bengals' next head coach is to be? Just saying they did bring in Hugh Jackson.
Well, Hugh Jackson was for the
I know.
not even a real job. They made up a job for him.
They just wanted attention. That's an attention.
I saw that they interviewed Vance Joseph.
Really?
Yeah, they're interviewing him. So, Cincinnati is a horrible front office. That's all I can take from this. If it took you 16 years to fire Marvin Lewis and your first interview is a guy that was horrible with a decent roster, I don't know. If I had to bet, I'd do bet Vance Joseph, head coach of the Bengals.
Sam?
All right, yeah. Sadly, Marvin Lewis is so bad, and you hit it right on the nail. Cincinnati is a terrible organization. I mean, Marvin Lewis, that guy's a joke. He's been terrible, and whenever he's good enough to get him into the playoffs, they just lose first round. I mean, they've had AJ Green, they've had talent in John Ross, they've had Joe Mixon, Andy Dalton, who's solid enough to get you into the playoffs, and then a few years ago they had a good defense, but not anymore, clearly. But Marvin Lewis, I mean, it's long overdue that he's been fired. So thankfully, good move by the Bengals. But then I hear they interviewed Vance Joseph, which is complete joke. I just think it's ridiculous. But I think Jackson's right. They'll probably end up hiring Vance Joseph, which is a dumb move.
Yeah, it is a dumb move. But, I mean, when you're the Bengals, I don't see the Bengals going anywhere in the next few years. So, I mean, it's like they're one of those teams that are almost there, but they're not. They're a good 7-9 team, which sucks. You hate being in that story. All right, now this is going to be our first episode with NBA. Jackson, this is definitely a conversation that I would love to hear you have. LeBron says he's a GOAT because he helped beat the Warriors in Cleveland. Do you think he's a GOAT because of that?
To answer your question, no, I don't think he's the GOAT because of that. I think he's the GOAT because of many other reasons.
But you do think he is the GOAT?
Absolutely, I do.
But you don't think him beating the Warriors with Cleveland
That didn't submit it for me.
made him step over Michael Jordan.
In my eyes, he had already stepped over him.
And when did he do that?
To be honest with you, I think ever since he started playing, he's been a better player than Jordan. He's going to finish with more points, assists, and rebounds on better shooting percentages. Oh, and by the way, he's not a shooter. So the argument there is kind of weird. You can argue Jordan was a better defensive player, but he played up against scrubs, like 5'9" white guys. So it's not really fair when you're playing Kevin Durant now. It's two different eras, though. It's really hard to compare because, Jordan played in an era where the three ball wasn't that, huge. And now LeBron's playing in an era where teams shoot threes like crazy. So it's really hard to compare the two players, especially that they didn't play the same position. But I think if you look at overall one guy who's the best basketball player ever, I think it's him because he can score efficiently, rebound efficiently. Every team he goes to gets better. People forget when Jordan retired, the Bulls won 55 games the next year. They were a really, really, really good team. And I'm just saying, I think LeBron's a more valuable player and a better player overall. That's not a knock on Jordan. The dude's a beast. But I just think LeBron overall.
Is he the second best player of all time?
That's a tough question. It really is.
Who would be second then?
I mean, honestly, I kind of look at Wilt Chamberlain as one of the better players because
He's
Wilt Chamberlain had a season where he averaged 50 points and 25 rebounds a game. I mean,
that was back in the old days.
I don't care if it's back in the old days. That's the greatest regular season out of an NBA player ever, and he didn't get the MVP that year.
He didn't?
No, he did not. So to answer the question, I think LeBron's the greatest player I've ever seen. I can't really speak for, all that because I've only seen highlights and looked up stats and looked up series of what happened, but I didn't get to see it live like I get to see LeBron live. So, I mean, it's a tough answer.
All right, Sam, do you think LeBron is the GOAT because of him beating the Warriors in 2015?
Just from basically him stating that he's had final struggles previously, and people always dock him because of his, lack of rings or lack of playoff success. And I think just because he beats that Warriors team, I do crown him the GOAT because, you have to look at this Warriors team. It's completely stacked.
They were 73 and 9 that year.
Yeah, it's amazing for you to even possibly not even get swept by that team, in my opinion. I mean, there's not LeBron is just one of 5 people. He can possibly silence Curry or Thompson or just one player, but he can't guard them all, and he still somehow won that. So, just because he beat that team, in my opinion, he's a GOAT.
Yeah,
I don't know if I agree with Okay, I agree LeBron's a better player, but the one thing I don't like about him is how he claims himself to be the GOAT. You don't claim yourself to be a GOAT.
Well, of course you do.
No, that's
honestly, it's
self-confidence.
It's humble of him that he hasn't said it a long time ago because he's been one for a while now.
I don't know.
That team he just took to the finals was the worst team I've ever seen make the NBA Finals, ever.
Well, the Eastern Conference also was not that hard to beat.
I don't care what conference it is, where it is.
If that was the West Conference, they couldn't make Western Conference. They're not making it out of the first round.
I mean, you're definitely right because that team was garbage. You had Jordan Clarkson, who's horrible. You had J.R. Smith, horrible. George Hill
on game 1
played horrible. You didn't even have Amon anymore. Tristan Thompson played good once every 6 games. Kevin Love was injured all the time. It was so bad. LeBron carried them every single night. It was a miracle they won a game.
They were a 3 seed. Dude, they weren't the 1 seed either.
They're a 4, yeah. 4. And you're looking at them right now. It's basically the same roster as last year, and they're last in the Eastern. It's not a coincidence.
Jimmy Butler has stated he plans to retire before 35. Do you agree with that, Jackson? Do you think he should? Do you think he should?
If he wants to, sure. I mean, the guy has no chance at being remembered as an all-time great, so it doesn't really matter.
You don't see him being a top 50?
No. I mean, he's going to be a guy that 50 years from now you may remember, but your kids are never going to know. They're never going to know who
they're
Jimmy
gonna
Butler.
know he's not a kid. He's not somebody that will remember him like they will LeBron James, Steph Curry, KD.
Listen, there's only a certain amount of legends that are going to come out of each era. I'd say there's about 10 in this, and he's not close.
You want to list those 10?
Well, sure, I will, but I'll let Sam go first on his point here.
Yeah, Sam. Do you think Jimmy Butler should retire before he's 35?
I think I have a yes, but a certain type of answer. But I think he should retire before 35 if he's just going to be chasing rings. Because if he doesn't want to, be that player, as Jackson mentioned, like one of the generational players, and he just wants to kind of, be the second, third guy on a team, then I understand. I mean, I'll just retire before 35. But if he's looking to like cement a legacy and to impact the game and be a generational player, which I think he had that on the Bulls or was heading towards that. But since he left, it doesn't seem like he's too interested in that. But if he was interested in that, I would play till 30, 36, 37 maybe.
See, I like how you said that. LeBron right now is 34, and look at what he's already done in his whole NBA career. Now, I will say this. I do get LeBron did not even go to college, but still. Jimmy
The
Butler
thing is, though,
could have done so much by now. It really, I think he's just trying to get some publicity.
well, you're comparing a above average shooting guard to arguably the greatest player of all time. That's not really fair.
I'm just saying, LeBron's 34. Or do you think it would be okay for LeBron to retire at 35, or do you want to see more? Do you want to?
Well, obviously, I want to see more, but if he literally can't play anymore, which I really doubt, but if he really, once he gets there, just cannot play as well anymore as he used to, and he's just not good anymore, then yeah, I want to see him step away. I don't want to see him play, when he's not good anymore.
Carmelo Anthony.
Carmelo is the most overrated NBA player I've ever seen.
But is he going to be in your top 10, Jackson?
Carmelo?
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, who's your top 10 then?
Not in any order, because I did not make this list. This is going to be off the top of the head.
All right, that's fine.
We're talking this decade or when? How long of a stretch are we talking here?
This decade.
All right, so
2010, 2020.
Definitely LeBron, definitely KD, definitely Westbrook, definitely Curry. Those are the four that I think
Harden.
Harden, yeah. I think those are five that every NBA fan would agree on.
Would Dirk Nowitzki count?
That's 2000,
I felt like
2010. That is.
Is he too old? Yeah, too old.
I think Dirk's time was in the 2000s. Kind of like, I would even say, you know what? I would even say Kobe's a part of this generation, because he played for a couple years of this decade.
I would agree. I would actually agree.
I felt like, I don't know. I guess you could say that.
I'm not.
And then,
this is gonna be bold, but would you include Zion for how much hype he's already getting, even though he's not in the NBA? This dude.
No.
No, you can't do that.
I'll throw in
the NBA, but do you know how much hype he's getting?
He's so fat. If we're being honest, like the dude is. There's one player.
Honest, yeah, he's so.
There's
fat.
one player in the NBA that weighs more than him right now.
Who?
One. Some dude for the Clippers. He's like 7'2".
Boban Donovich or whatever.
Nah, it might be.
Yeah.
But
would you include Klay Thompson?
No.
Would you include Joel Embiid?
Not yet.
Would you include Karl Anthony Towns?
No. What the hell?
Would you include Dwayne Wade?
Of course, Dwayne Wade's a beast.
Would you include Chris Paul?
Yes.
Yeah, I would actually.
So there's 8. There's 8.
He's a little. I'd include Anthony Davis. I think he's one of the best.
Oh yeah.
No. We'll give him next year.
His career averages are 23.8 and 10 points.
And would you include Giannis?
Oh yes.
It's looking like it. I think you're gonna have to.
There's your 10 right there. All right.
And that's leaving people out.
Yeah, that is leaving a lot of people out.
Tim Duncan.
Okay. See, I didn't even
what
heard of him.
about Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, there's so many guys that you could.
This is a good.
And the thing is, Jimmy Butler doesn't touch any of those guys.
Yeah,
not even close.
Yeah.
And it's arguable that Jimmy Butler really has never been the best player on his team. Maybe with Chicago, but Derrick Rose was still pretty. But it's arguable that Karl Anthony was better than him on the two Wolves.
Definitely.
I really think Joel Embiid's better than him. So
yeah.
If you're not the best player on your team, you can't expect to be remembered as one of the greatest players of all time.
All right, and I just want to touch up on this. Are the Rockets officially back on a recent hot streak? Do you think they are back? They are the fourth or fifth seed.
Oh yeah, let them be back. But once they get to the playoffs, Harden will choke again, so it won't matter.
Choke again? He made it to the Western Conference Finals.
He choked. Yeah, I mean it's the bottom line. The team missed 20.
That's the one thing I hate about the NBA. It took him 2 months to get to the Western Conference Finals, pretty much. You can say.
It took 27 missed threes in a row, not by him, by the team.
Yeah.
That's inexcusable. Like that is you had Game 7 on your court and you didn't. That. I mean,
the
how am I
Royals had
supposed
Game 7 at Kaufman and they didn't win.
But the Royals didn't have a superstar MVP player.
True.
We're talking
Sam,
about a guy that.
Jackson, we're just gonna move on.
Okay.
Sam, do you think the Rockets are back?
I mean, I think thankfully they're back because they have quite a bit of talent on their team. So it's kind of pathetic that they haven't been back sooner. But I think they can compete. But again, like Jackson said, they're kind of like who am I thinking of? They're like the Los Angeles Dodgers. It seems like every year they're there, they just never actually get over the cusp and win it.
And may we add this? Yeah. Nobody's touching Golden State.
Yeah, for real.
It doesn't matter. Once Boogie's
you don't even think the Raptors have a chance? Dude,
the thing about Golden State right now is they're not really trying. And you can laugh that off and say I'm dumb, but they're really not.
Like, you're dumb.
How funny. But I just don't think they're like if you look at them and it doesn't look like they care that much right now. And they've historically in this dynasty played their best. They historically in this dynasty played their best basketball in the playoffs. I don't think any team has the roster right now to beat them.
I can see where you're going with that. And it being the offseason right now for the MLB, there is no news as of late. Bryce Harper, Manny Machado still taking forever.
Yeah, so annoying.
So let's get right into the questions that are asked from you guys, the fans. Make sure to send those in, guys. If you guys want to leave a comment on this video asking questions, we do encourage that. We will make sure to leave it. And guys, if you want to turn on that notification bell, we'll shout you guys out if you come in within the first 5 minutes of the podcast, the next episode saying notification squad or whatever. I thought that's another way to get some fan interactions. But let's start out with the questions. Number one is coming from Joe_Riley35. Why is the Chiefs' run defense so poor? Sam, we'll start off with you. You run the account that you were asked this.
All right. Well, there's a number of reasons from this, and overall, our linebacking sets have been a lot underperforming when it comes to the run game, and I mean, overall, I think the scheme also wasn't benefiting this, but really our linebackers aren't hitting the gaps, and we just aren't really. I mean, it's like we're not even expecting the run game, so it's overall, I think, poor scheming and poor tackling.
All right, Jackson.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, there's not much to say.
There really isn't. Once you get past that D-line, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Number two is coming from J.K. Kruger 6. I want to say that's his name. He says, can the Chiefs still win the Super Bowl with all the injuries and losing Kareem? Jackson, we'll start with you.
Sure, they could.
Okay, here. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
I saw this on Twitter. One account ran a Super Bowl simulation.
Yeah, I saw this
10,000 times, and the Chiefs won it 22.8% out of 22.8%. That was the best.
Yeah.
Next were the Saints, but I thought I would point that out. A lot of teams think we're good, but our defense is not good, so I do not feel comfortable with even seeing all that. Sorry, Jackson, I had to say that. Continue.
They force a lot of turnovers. That's one thing. And that can help you out a lot. Listen, I don't know. It's just a lot will be told by this first game by Pat Mahomes in the playoffs because nobody wants to believe in the Chiefs right now because of our home playoff history. But then everyone says, well, Mahomes, they've never had Mahomes, so we'll see. But if Mahomes loses this game, then every year from now on, we're going to say, yeah, but does it really matter? I mean, we got that last time and we couldn't win. And so I think for the fan base, we need to win at least one or two at least. So going forward, don't have to think
we only have 2 home games in the playoffs until the Super Bowl. So
we haven't won a home playoff game since the mid '90s. So it's really hurting. The fan base really hurts, and the last time you won one, Joe Montana was your quarterback. So it's time you win one. But that being said, the question about winning the Super Bowl, I think that if we played our absolute best football 3 games in a row, we could. But I don't think we will. I just think the Saints are way too good on the other side if they get there. And if the Saints don't get there and a team like Seattle gets there, I don't.
Something
Or like,
I like how you said we have 3 weeks to play our best football. I saw Justin Houston put something he was on the Chiefs Twitter and he said we have 3 more weeks to play. Then the off season is yours. Put everything you got into this, and like that is what the Chiefs really need to do. As simple that is, you have 3 weeks left to be declared the Super Bowl champions. 3 weeks. We've won 12 times. You can do it 3 more times. I believe in this team. Sam, do you believe in this team on winning the Super Bowl?
I really do. I think, can we beat the Ravens? Yeah. Can we beat the Chargers? Yeah. Can we beat, all these other contenders?
Can we beat the Patriots?
Yes, definitely.
Can we beat the Rams?
Yes. I think we could definitely beat the Rams. I'm just scared of the Saints. But I honestly, who would I rather face out of any AFC team? It'd be the Patriots currently.
For me, if I had to play any AFC team, it'd be the Texans because their secondary is the worst in the playoffs, and their offensive line is they by far have the worst offensive line in the postseason. I mean, we need to do game picks tonight, by the way, because Saturday games are gonna happen.
That's right. That kind of sucks.
But I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this. That's why I think the Colts are gonna beat the Texans in the.
What?
I agree.
You think?
I agree.
Should we do a podcast Friday then?
What?
Should we just do a podcast Friday?
Yeah, I'd be down for it.
I'm down for a podcast. Wait, I can't do Friday. I have another podcast.
Well, I mean, It's 4 games. We can pick them when.
Yeah, let's just pick them right now. Screw it. Let's pick them.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, Jackson. We already heard your Colts versus Texans. We need we need a score prediction and then an X factor. This is playoffs. We are giving X factors.
Yeah, for real. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and say 26-20 Colts, and my biggest X factor is Jadeveon Clowney because the Colts offensive. Just listen. The Colts offensive line has become so much better, and they're gonna double. If Jadeveon Clowney can't cause havoc, the Houston secondary will not be able to hold up with T.Y. Hilton and Eric Ebron, and the Colts will have a field day.
All right, sure. Do you not know what X factor means?
No, I do.
All right, Sam, your turn.
I do believe the Colts as well will be the Texans because the Colts are, I believe, 9-1 their last 10 games.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah. And so they're on fire basically, and then it's divisional, and so I feel like divisional. It's very likely that the Colts could pull an upset, and overall I think it'll come down to the better QB play, and I feel like the Colts have that. So I think the Colts will win. Let me see what's the right score. I think 24-21.
I want the Colts to win, but I don't know if they can. That Houston.
But here's the thing, Josh, before you finish that. They beat them at Houston like 4 weeks ago.
I was about to say, they just did that. So, for that reason, I think Texans are going to win. The Texans... Okay, how many... Who won the first time?
Houston in overtime.
All right, so it's 1-1 then.
But it really is whenever the Colts... It was when the Colts were terrible, though. It was when the Colts were doing terrible.
Oh, when they went 0-3?
But they were both horrible at the
1-5.
To be fair, the Texans were 0-3 when they beat the.
I just want to go with the Texans. I've got to go Texans. 28-27. Game-winning field goal.
All right.
X Factor, whoever the Texans kicker is.
Falcons.
Right. He said Texans.
Oh, okay. That's kind of my favorite.
All right. Next game, we have the Seahawks and Cowboys. This is going to be a good game.
Yes, yes, yes.
Jackson, who do you have winning in the Seahawks at Cowboys? Seahawks have already beat the Cowboys, but it was in Seattle.
I got the Hawks winning this one, but this is to me the toughest game to call. But here's the thing: I can't see Seattle getting blown out, and Russell Wilson is the greatest fourth quarter quarterback of all time. It statistically and the eye test. I just saw it 2 weeks ago. He is a monster. Like that dude, his entire career has been a beast in the fourth quarter. You go back to Wisconsin. I think he'll make.
I just want to say the Seahawks, their losses are to the Broncos. Okay, that sucks. But the Bears, the Rams, the Chargers, the Rams again, and then the 49ers.
Yeah, the thing is, the first two losses they were horrible to start the season.
Yeah, that hurt them.
This is a new Seattle team. And the thing is, who cares about your week 1 loss? You got to look at right now, which is why, like, if you told me 7 weeks ago who's going to win, Philly or Chicago, I'd pick Chicago. But now it's a completely different matchup. Things have changed, and you want the momentum coming in here. And yeah, Dallas beat the Giants, but it took everything they had, and they weren't resting their starters. So that kind of,
that game made me upset. I'm so mad Dallas won.
It doesn't really matter. They were going to be in the, but I honestly think Russell Wilson will make enough to give the Seahawks a good road victory. He's a clutch quarterback, man. I say 30-27 Hawks.
All right, Sam.
All right. So it's at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. So I honestly think Ezekiel Elliott is good enough to power through that Seahawks defense. So I have the Cowboys win this thing, 27-24.
I have Seahawks winning this one too, and I think Russell Wilson will ball out like Jackson said. The Seahawks are the best 10-6 team I've ever seen, probably.
Yeah.
And that's very impressive. I got Seattle winning this one. This will be a close game, but it will be it won't be competitive in the fourth quarter. I got Seattle winning this one 35-24.
Are we doing X factor?
I said Russell Wilson. He will just ball out.
Yeah, I'd say to be honest with you, I'd say the X factor is going to be the Seattle offensive line, because that defensive line in the Cowboys with DeMarcus Lawrence is pretty dang good.
And Vander Esch or whatever you say.
Yeah, I mean, they're all. You saw what they did to the Saints.
Yeah, if the Cowboys defense comes out to play, it should be a good game. Next, we got the Chargers at Ravens. Literally, I do not want to see either team win, but one of them are going to have to win. Jackson, who do you see winning and why? Not who do you want to win, who do you see winning?
I honestly see the Chargers winning this game. And I know it sounds. But listen, you're playing a team for the second time in 3 weeks. That both teams are very comfortable with each other by this point. To be fair, the Chargers probably win that game if Antonio Gates doesn't fumble on the final drive. I'm not excusing it. The Ravens played better, but to be fair, that game was a little closer than the score indicated. So I really do think this is Lamar Jackson's first postseason game. Who knows how he's going to play? And I've got to say this: if Baltimore falls behind, they can't win. They can't, because that dares Lamar Jackson to throw, and that when he is going to, there's nothing.
They fell behind the Chiefs.
We didn't, but whenever we knew he had to throw on that final drive in overtime, what happened? He couldn't get it done.
Hurt.
Whenever we knew, but he was already in 3rd and 20. Whenever he had to throw, whenever we knew he had to throw at the end of the fourth quarter, what happened? Strip sack. When you know he has to throw, he is not as good as a quarterback. The problem with Baltimore is they're so confusing because they could give it to the tailback, the fullback, or Lamar Jackson can keep it, and they do it a certain way that's so tough to defend. And that's why I'm picking the Chargers, because they've seen it now. They've had preparation against it. I think they're going to be able to put a game plan in, and Phillip Rivers is a better quarterback.
All right. What was the score?
I'm going to go it's got to be low scoring for the Ravens to win, so I'm going to give the Chargers a couple more points. I'd say 27-17 Chargers. The X factor, I would say, would be the Chargers' defensive line, Joey Bosa, and them making key stops on the run game.
All right, Sam, who do you have winning this game?
All right. I mean, I think everyone in the NFL knows the Ravens offense. Either it's like a read option or it's a fake every single play. Everyone knows it. No one's able to figure out. I don't see the Chargers being able to figure out. So I have the Ravens beating them as much as I hate to see the Ravens still in the playoffs. I see the Ravens beating them 24-14. I feel like the X factor will be Lamar Jackson and if he or the lack thereof of turnovers, if he can hold on to that ball. If he doesn't hold on to the ball, I can see the Chargers taking advantage of that winning. But I feel like if Lamar Jackson can manage the ball well, not put it on the ground or not throw an interception, I feel like the Ravens will cruise to a comfortable win.
Oh, nevermore, 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 nevermore. The Ravens are nevermore. I don't know. I was trying to do something with the Raven right there. Edgar Allan Poe. Now I got Ravens win this one. I think the X factor in this is definitely the Ravens' time of possession. I've been trying to get everyone thinking about how big that is. When they hold
Oh,
the
it's
ball for
huge.
more than 40 minutes, you're screwed. You are screwed. And I think the Ravens
Mhm.
have a good chance of doing that. That's why I have the Ravens winning this one 27-20.
Here's the thing, though, that is so crucial. That I guess I'd say only these two teams can say the Bears. All Trubisky and Lamar Jackson have to do is not make a mistake, and they can win. They don't have to make a big play. They just can't make a mistake because their defense is their run game is that good that I think all they have to do is play an Alex Smith type of game, and
Yeah, true.
All right. Next game. Final game for Wild Card Weekend. Philly at Chicago. Jackson, who do you have winning this game and why?
oh, man, this is such a tough call.
Or you can let Sam go first if you want to.
Sam, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
All right. Yeah, I agree. It's a really hard game to pick, but I think I've been hardcore on the Eagles train recently because they've honestly are really underrated, and I feel like they'll scrape out a win over the Chicago Bears, but it's going to be like a nail bite and like come down to the last drive type of game, like the Rams Chiefs game. Not as high scoring, but like the intensity of it. I think the Eagles will pull out a win, and I think it'll be 24-23, and it'll go into overtime.
All right. Well, I've got to be honest here. I really want to pick Philadelphia, but I'm not
Picking.
going to because this is a 12-4 Bears team we're talking about. And let's just examine their losses this season. Green Bay, they just choked, and that was before the Bears were the Bears really. And you could argue they should have won that game. They're up 20 points.
They
They lost
should
to
have.
they lost to the Dolphins on a missed field goal. So this team is good enough to where they could have had a first round bye almost. Could have had the first seed maybe. So this team's very good, and they're playing at home. It's going to be cold. Now Philly's used to the cold. The only thing that worries me is postseason experience. But here's the thing. I think the Bears are going to win 21-13. I think they're going to dominate defensively like they have all season. That they're going to feed off of that crowd noise. I'm going to say this, though. I know you can't pick twice, but this is what I'm saying. If the Eagles lead at any point in the fourth quarter, I don't think the Bears win at all. I don't think there's a chance because I don't believe in Mitchell Trubisky. My X factor in this game is just the Bears defense if they play as good as they have been playing. Because if they don't and they play a little worse than they've been playing, I think Philly wins.
All right.
Easy,
Philly. It's a great play. It worked in Super Bowl. But I don't see it working this week at all. I don't see Philly winning this game at all. I have Bears winning this one. X factor here is Khalil Mack, as basic as that is. It truly is.
Mm-hmm.
Bears win this one. It's gonna be a low scoring game. 16-10.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think
So that sets
I
up.
think
Okay.
I think Chicago's more built for playoff football than Philadelphia.
Yeah. All right. So that sets up the matchups for divisional week. We would have the Colts against the Chiefs, going off of who picked who. We had Seattle going up against the Rams. No, the Saints. Yes, the Saints. And then we'll have the Ravens, or did we say We said Ravens, right?
I think majority said Ravens.
Ravens against Patriots. That would be a great game.
Fantastic.
And then we will have the Bears against the Rams. Another great game.
Mm-hmm.
Gentlemen, we just hit the 1 hour mark. It's been fun.
Yes, it has been.
Yep,
We'll
it's
be
been a good
back
time.
here for Saturday, and we might know who the Chiefs will be playing by the next time we do our next podcast. That's only if the Colts win. If not, we'll have to figure out Sunday. But other than that, guys, you guys have anything to say?
Thanks for tuning in and subscribe and drop a like.
Yeah.
Jackson?
Basically that's it. Have a good day.
Have a good day, everybody. Thank you. Come again. No, thank you guys for everybody for subscribing. We're so close to 60 subs, so if you guys could tell your friends to subscribe, share the broadcast. We are family friendly, so share this to your mom and dad. Your dad probably, not your mom, but
Hey,
anyone
girl-
would enjoy this podcast. I
like
think. But yeah, I think everybody for the recent support. If you guys could drop a like, that'd be awesome. Comment down anything, literally anything. I'll like all the comments we get, no matter what it is. You can literally do a comment bot. I will like every single comment it gets. But other than that, guys, I appreciate everyone coming by. Other than that, KC3 Takes is out. Episode 7 is done. See you this Saturday. Peace.